We are living through the biggest monetary shift in modern history.
We have something that's much more profound. We have a breaking down of the monetary order. We are going to change the monetary order.
Ray Dalio is sounding the alarm. He warned us what was coming, and it's happening. The global money supply is exploding, and Bitcoin, it's sitting right at the gates of a new all-time high. The dollar is dying. The Fed is trapped, and Wall Street is panicking. But you and I, we're not, because we've got Bitcoin. Welcome back. I'm Rustin, and today's episode is stacked. We're going to show you the charts, the chaos, and the clues that the Bitcoin rocket is loading up for liftoff. Sunday!
Let's now look at the typical sequence of events going on inside a country that produces these rises and declines. In a nutshell, the big cycle typically begins after a major conflict, often a war, establishes the new leading power and the new world order. Because no one wants to challenge this power, a period of peace and prosperity typically follows. As people get used to this peace and prosperity, they increasingly bet on it continuing. They borrow money to do that, which eventually leads to a financial bubble. The empire's share of trade grows, and when most transactions are conducted in its currency, it becomes a reserve currency, which leads to even more borrowing. At the same time, this increased prosperity distributes wealth unevenly. So the wealth gap typically grows between the rich haves and the poor have-nots. Eventually, the financial bubble bursts, which leads to the printing of money and increased internal conflict between the rich and the poor, which leads to some form of revolution to redistribute wealth. This can happen peacefully or as a civil war. While the empire struggles with this internal conflict, its power diminishes relative to external rival powers on the rise. When a new rising power gets strong enough to compete with the dominant power that is having domestic breakdowns, external conflicts, most typically wars, take place. Out of these internal and external wars come new winners and losers. Then the winners get together to create the new world order. And the cycle begins again.
More from Dalio in a minute, but the global money supply just hit a new all-time high. That's not just a number. That's fuel. That's jet fuel, especially for the one asset that can't be inflated. But it's not just supply. Look at the dollar. The DXY just broke below the critical 100 level. The last time this happened, we had a massive Bitcoin bull run. Correlation isn't perfect, but it rhymes. And here's where it gets crazier. Bitcoin ETFs saw one of their worst outflows last week, over 750 million gone. And yet, Bitcoin still holding strong above 84K. Now, what does this tell you? I'll tell you what it means. It means weak hands are leaving and strong hands are loading up, which is extremely bullish. But now let's get down to business, because Ray Dalio, one of the most influential investors alive, just said this.
I think that right now we are at a decision-making point and very close to a recession. And I'm worried about something worse than a recession if this isn't handled well. A recession is 2 negative quarters of GDP, and whether it goes slightly there, we always have those things. We have something that's much more profound. We have a breaking down of the monetary order. We are going to change the monetary order because we cannot spend the amounts of money, so we have that problem. And when we talk about the dollar and we talk about tariffs, we have that. We are having profound changes in our domestic order, how ruling is existing, and we're having profound changes in the world order. Such times are very much like the 1930s. I've studied history, and this repeats over and over again. So if you take tariffs, if you take debt, if you take the rising power challenging the existing power, if you take those factors and look at the factors, those changes in the orders, the systems, are very, very disruptive. How that's handled could produce something that is much worse than a recession.
And guess what? he's not alone. Cathie Wood is warning of a deep recession, and Robert Kiyosaki says the dollar crash, it's here. Let me deliver it to you straight. The traditional system is breaking.
This entire week has been insane. It seems like the system is just broken, and people don't know why it's broken or where we go from here. So do you agree that the system is actually broken?
This week, I will literally say in something that will be out there for the rest of my life that the system officially broke this week.
Interesting.
The top of the global capital structure is U.S. bonds. And as we sit here, I've seen something that I haven't seen since my days in Brazil. So far month to date, bonds are down over 5%, so yields are up significantly. Stocks are down over 5%. And the dollar's down about 5%. So the currency, bonds, and stocks all going down in a panic way. That doesn't happen. And the last time I saw that type of thing was in emerging markets. So if this isn't the official end of the system, which again, I don't want this to sound like doom and gloomish, this is kind of what Donald Trump wanted. He wanted to break global trade. You had Keir Starmer over the weekend say globalism is dead. I believe this is the beginning of a new system. And so when you transition from an old system to a new system, this is what really happens. And the only question now is, how is the government going to make the transition? And we got more on that this week with the actions of Donald Trump on Wednesday.
And that's not a threat to Bitcoin. It's just validation. Let's zoom out and just take a look at the chaos since 2020. COVID crash, buy button bans, war, bank collapses, and now a trade war and global currency crisis. All in just 5 years. How many once-in-a-lifetime events can a generation take? What system survives that? Spoiler alert. Not Fiat. Meanwhile, China is stacking gold, and apparently 50 tons worth of it last month. The US is retaliating with tariffs, and nobody understands anything or what the policy is doing or what's happening at all. Is it 20%, 145%, 30,000%, or just smoke and mirrors? Guys, a lot of it's just smoke and mirrors. But with all the seesaw, the markets can't price this in. But Bitcoin can.
Talking to Brian Armstrong last night ahead of this summit today, and he's one of the members who's been advising the Trump transition team since the campaign trail, and he made the point that he thinks a lot of countries are going to follow. I know of already Middle Eastern countries, Gulf states that have been looking into a Bitcoin buying strategy. There's also reportedly conversations within the Chinese government to look to follow suit if the government in the U.S. makes this move to roll out a purchase plan.
But there is no purchase plan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if you have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, China used to be one of the epicenters for Bitcoin mining. It's very easy for them. They have all of this hydropower, and so they already have all the facilities, and they banned it a couple years ago, but it takes nothing to turn it back on. And then, similar to Iran evading sanctions by just mining Bitcoin, they already have it on hand.
Right, but if
Bitcoin thrives on the chaos, and the dollar is slipping. DXY down bad. And remember, Bitcoin tends to rip just months after a DXY dump. What's the other lead indicator? Global M2. Every time it spikes, Bitcoin lags, then launches. And according to the data, we could be 2 weeks away from a Bitcoin explosion if these tea leaves are correct. Now, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a global currency war happening right now. And when that type of shit is happening, you need to get your Bitcoin off exchanges. We haven't even got to the most bullish news yet. But before we do, look at our likes.
3 or 4 times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pap while we take a moment to shout out our sponsors. As we said before, the time to get your Bitcoin off exchanges was yesterday. Let's take a moment to shout out the Bitcoin Way. They will help you on your Bitcoin journey from start to finish. How to take self-custody and protect your generational wealth. How to run a node. How to get your Bitcoin off those exchanges. And into self-custody, because that is the revolution. If you're looking to reclaim your privacy, head on over to the Bitcoin Way and begin your journey toward Bitcoin sovereignty today. If you're looking to get started, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation using that link in the show notes. I just can't do it anymore. Trying to explain to these normies that taxation is theft And they just ask if I watched the game last night. Not anymore, and it's time to wave those normie friends goodbye. Because with the Orange Pill app, you can stack friends who stack sats. It's the ultimate hub to connect with fellow Bitcoiners, find meetups, and discover every Bitcoin conference happening near you and across the country. And just in, the Orange Pill app Lightning Wallet is live. Send and receive Bitcoin at the speed of lightning. No setup, no limits, just pure sats and freedom. Bitcoin is better with friends, and now you can zap them instantly, all in one app. What are you waiting for? Download the Orange Pill app today and zap your friends, favorite Bitcoiners, Bitcoin companies, and who knows? Those connections you make could last a lifetime. Big finish time, my friends. All signs point to the same conclusion. We are at the beginning of the end for fiat. And Bitcoin, it's holding steady near all-time highs while the system crumbles. Institutions know it. ETFs are bleeding, but Saylor just bought more. And today, Trump is meeting with President Bukele. Probably nothing. Probably just some coincidence.
And we appreciate it. Thanks.
Actually, what you're doing with the border is remarkable. It has dropped, 95%? It's incredible.
Okay. As of this morning, 99%, 99.1% to be exact.
Why are those numbers not in the media?
Well, they get out with the fake news, like CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country, actually.
Yeah,
but it's a shame. You're right. Isn't that a great question? Why doesn't the media? Why don't they put out numbers?
Yeah, 99%. I mean, it's crazy, right?
We're doing
it's
great.
A crazy turnaround.
Christy, could you maybe say a couple of words?
The Bitcoin presidents are meeting. The halving is 3 years out. Block rewards will drop again. Supply will shrink. Demand. It's currently only growing and it's only going to continue. Bitcoin's resilience in the face of all this chaos isn't luck. It's design. It's not a hedge, it's the exit. And Wall Street is slowly figuring it out. Governments are next. But you don't have to wait for permission because Bitcoin doesn't need permission. It only needs understanding. Ray Dalio, Cathie Wood, Robert Kiyosaki, they're all waving the red flags. You don't need to panic, but you damn sure better prepare. And preparation in 2025, it looks like this. Self-custody, stay humble, stack sats, and get those tickets to Bitcoin 2025. That's right, the biggest Bitcoin event of the year is heading to Las Vegas, May 27th through the 29th at the Venetian. This is going to be absolutely massive, and the Simply Bitcoin team will be on site. So be sure to get those tickets and use promo code SIMPLY for 10% off. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pap by sharing the Sound Money Gospel and set those notifications for the best in Bitcoin delivered to you daily. And I'll catch you all next time. Love you guys. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.